The purpose of this video is really to reinforce what we can to add value to you in this very trying time that we're finding ourselves in with the coronavirus. Our roots are absolutely ingrained in people and they run extremely deep. And at this moment, they couldn't be any deeper in terms of our thought and our commitment to be able to want to add value to everybody in terms of the stress that they're going through and how to reduce that stress, how to remain calm, and how to distract from the craziness that appears to be ever evolving out there. And so really what we're going to share is some information from a research institute called HeartMath Institute. They're in Northern California. They do tremendous work with regards to the heart. And what we're sharing is information that's going to give you the ability to create some techniques that support the right connection between your brain and your heart, and to be able to keep your blood pressure low, your immune system high, and more importantly, your sanity. And to be able to share this information with other people is all we would ask for you, and to be able to move it forward. And so obviously it's a very changing time. The world that we're experiencing right now has been unprecedented in terms of what we're going through. We're all having to respond to it in our own way, and some of us are responding very well and some of us aren't. And so therefore, how do people who are responding very well, how do they respond very well? What is it that they're applying that perhaps gives them, other than their genes and their DNA, what is it that they're applying that gives them the ability to become a little bit more responsive in these situations rather than reactive? And there's a brilliant study that's done by HeartMath, which is really reinforcing what a 60-day time frame is that people go through when they go through a level of stress such as we're going through right now. The heart is now recognized as a very, very powerful organ within our body. It's not just an organ that pumps blood. And research is reinforcing that the sort of magnetic energy that comes from the heart and the electrical energy that comes from the heart is 5,000 times more powerful in its magnetic energy than the brain, and 100 times more powerful in terms of generating electrical energy than the brain. So we've always thought the brain is sort of giving us this direction, and actually it's the heart. And so the language of the heart, when you can connect the brain and the heart together, it reinforces coherence. And when you have good coherence between the brain and the heart, you actually have a better immune system. You reinforce faster learning, and you're more creative, and just have more energy. And you can see people who are in these states. They're high-performing athletes, they're entrepreneurs, they're people that are just switched on. And they're switched on because they've got this link between their brain and their heart that is coherent. The heart rate variance that's going on is giving them the ability where nothing else is coming into play, but they are reinforcing this energy based on their full immersion into their focus. And their heart is allowing that to happen because of what they're feeling. And so what I want to reinforce to you are some techniques that are and can be incorporated into this 60-day time frame that give the ability of having what we call extended heart resilience. That resilience that isn't just when you get knocked down, you quickly get back up again, you can bounce back. But that resilience that when you get knocked down over and over and over again, over a long period of time, what is it that gives you that heart extended resilience that gives you less emotional exhaustion, less hyper-reactivity, where you actually can keep on moving forward in your sanity? And let me share with you what this 60-day process is. The first sort of day when you're experiencing some sort of stress that's a much higher level than you have been previously, that first 10 days, you go into what's called like almost excited mode. You're hungry for information to be able to learn what you can do to respond to this stress. You're researching everything you can, you're capturing it from people, and you've got the energy that is really just being expelled to be able to respond to this stress that you've immediately been given. From that 10-day period to the 30-day period, the research has shown in this study at HeartMath that you go into high efficiency mode where you're applying some of this information that you've been learning, and then you're responding to it. So you're busy just like trying to win at every element you can to be able to move yourself forward to get past this stress. But if that stress doesn't start to drop, which is ultimately what's sort of starting to happen with this coronavirus pandemic at the moment, when that stress continues and news doesn't get better and better, what starts to happen after that 30 days is people start to go into hyper-reactive mode, emotional exhaustion. So you've gone from the excitement, the research, the high efficiency, and then you're just literally responding and going into this reactive mode where you're becoming emotionally exhausted. So what do people do and what techniques can you apply? So if something continues after this 30 days, your hyper-reactive mode is a higher level than somebody else's. Your emotional exhaustion doesn't allow you to become so emotionally exhausted and that you have the ability to keep moving yourself forward to get constantly through this sort of extreme pressure that you're experiencing. And that comes in the form of the techniques that HeartMath have reinforced and have then actually sort of put into a study to reinforce and show the results that people that apply what I'm about to share with you actually have a higher level of resilience and heart resilience to allow everyone to respond a lot more effectively from that 30 to 60 day period. And that's what we want to share with you, because this isn't going away quickly, this coronavirus situation. We're going through media exposure that is almost overwhelming to some point, where we're constantly being thrown information that's making us feel like it's the end of the world, and information where we're feeling like, oh, something's actually happening positively. And so we've got to be able to have some self-control when it comes to that. We can't change what's happening in the world today, but we can change how we respond to what's happening in the world today. And this is one way in which you can actually respond positively during your everyday sort of habits, if you will, or rituals, to be able to reinforce a higher level of resilience over this extended period of time. And the first and most important thing that you want to do, and the first thing in your technique, is to really take your conscious awareness from your brain to your heart. Just start to focus on your heart. Take a step back, sit down, be calm in a quiet place, and focus your attention to your heart and your breathing. And when you start to focus your attention to your heart and your breathing, you actually start to calm down. And if you slow your breathing down to a level where you breathe for 5, you hold for 2, and then breathe out for 5 seconds, over a period of a minute or so, what you're doing is you're starting to take control of your body. And when you're taking control of your body is now saying that you're safe. It's feeling safe. So that's the first thing. We want to take our thinking mind and position our thinking to our heart. Really slow our breathing down, and for 4 or 5 minutes, just stay in that mode. The next thing that the HeartMath Institute reinforced in the study of people that had this higher level of resilience, extended resilience, was to then actually start to remember and emotionalize some experiences of what they went through or have gone through in life that makes them feel really good. So that experience might be when you think of your children, when you think of your spouse, when you think of something that made you feel really happy. You're emotionalizing that situation and you're remembering it and you're feeling it in your heart. The goal is to feel it in your heart, not just think it, but feel it. When you feel it in your heart and you bring those elements or those thoughts into your heart, you actually start to emotionalize, and now you're changing the chemical flow in your body. And if you can't think of anything, then just reinforce what you feel incredibly appreciative about, what you're grateful for. Have tremendous gratitude. What is it that you have tremendous gratitude for? What do you appreciate? And what do you feel compassion for? When you start to incorporate those elements into your heart and you feel them, you're now changing the chemical flow of your body. And you stay in that state where you constantly, the idea is to feel it, not to think it. So one, you're changing from your thinking mind to your heart. You're focusing on your heart. You're slowing your breathing down, which reinforces to your body that you're safe. Now you're reinforcing emotions of care, appreciation, gratitude, compassion, remembering things that you feel really emotionally about in a positive way. And it's changing the flow of chemicals in your body. Even if you touch your heart, then, our focus goes to areas that we touch. So when you touch your heart, you're actually, everything is going and is now linked to the heart. So you're putting attention because your focus goes on where you're paying attention and where you're touching. So these elements of what you're doing, just as I'm talking through this right now, is reinforcing a changing chemical. That if you do this for 5 or 10 minutes a day, every day, just to get yourself into this state, then what you're doing is you are actually improving the chemical flow and increasing your immune response. You're also reinforcing that healthiness between your brain and your heart called coherence, that is reinforcing a better heart rhythm. And to come out of that mode after 10 or 15 minutes, chemicals in your body can stay within your body for 6 or 7 hours afterwards. So although you're going back into a mode of thought of what's happening in the world, you've actually put your body into this different state. So what, again, I want to share is this study has reinforced that if you can apply this daily, then the level of stress you're going through, when that stress starts to get what would be normally sort of into an extended mode after 30 or 40 days, where you're emotionally exhausted, you're going to become less emotionally exhausted, less hyper-reactive, and you're going to be more creative towards applying your different things into your world that's going to actually allow you to move progressively forward. So again, we're sharing information that's come from this study. Heart Math Institute, I'd highly recommend you go there. Tells you so much more information about how important the heart is to your body and how you can actually extend life, have better energy, improve your blood flow, reinforce the right chemicals that give you a higher immune response, which we really need right now with the coronavirus around. But more importantly, help you to remain calm and have less stress in your world. So please apply this information, please pay it forward and share it with other people, and do all you can to keep safe and well while we go through this changing time that we're going through, because we will come out of it. And once we do, never stop applying what has helped you to get through it.